Welcome back. This is episode 2 of the Star Wars Hearts Fire alternate universe timeline of the Survivors game titled Anger. The first episode, we had our would-be heroes coming out of the chaos of Order 66 and trying to make contact throughout the galaxy with potential allies and finding survivors from the Order. They did catch the brief glimpse of whoever the person that seems to be coordinating the executions of the Jedi that are still alive. In the past few months of gameplay, the characters have relatively well established the base that they are working out of. They have found a squad of Antarian Rangers that numbers 11 individuals that have loyalty to the Jedi Order and are helping them with keeping things in order and doing some building and that kind of thing. They have their original starfighters, they all got a ship. That's right. They sold your stuff and bought a ship, and the Antarian Rangers have a ship. So there's 2 small freighters that are controlled by the group and that sort of thing. You have not had any success lately with actually tracking down other Jedi survivors, although you have had this Antarian Ranger group, which is peripherally part of the Jedi Order. It's been about 8 months since the end of the last session, so let's have a real quick re-meeting of who our 4 heroes are. So.
I'm playing Jax Vatri. He is a Nautolan protector. He studies Sorasu, and since the last game, he actually ditched his Jedi armor and gotten something akin to Mandalorian, but not actually Mandalorian armor. And he has been practicing on reforming his body and what's the word I'm looking for? He's been training himself. He's worked up to be tougher and stronger since the last encounter, and he's also practiced a little bit with light blasters and his ability to move things using the Force. And that's me. So I will hand off to the next person.
Hey guys, it's Mikey again. I'm going to be playing Seraph Kelos. Since the last game, she has spent more time with an inner perspective, really closely concentrating on herself and her own sort of form of meditation, which she believes is physical perfection. So she's been training her lightsaber abilities and also trying to become just a little bit more one with Wraith. And honestly, in dealing with the fact that her master was, killed for her and the other Jedi apprentices or knights to escape. She's also ditched her Jedi stuff. She's currently wearing more of a splish-splash of combat armor. She's also really pushing herself away from the group even more so than she was before. She's definitely really becoming, or trying to become, more independent. While she trusts the other 3 individuals of the group, she doesn't want to get close because she doesn't want to lose anybody else like she just lost her master. And that's about it.
Hey guys, Ray. I'm playing Taxfool, the Sentinel Artisan. Over the past 8 months, before they left planet, traded in his Jedi gear as well, wearing some light armored clothing with a smuggler's trench coat. Picked up a heavy-duty blaster that he customized, trying to look, I guess, more scarier than what he actually is, trying to pull off that smuggler bounty hunter kind of feel. He spent some time with Jex, not mastering, but better becoming more familiar with his saber since he spent a lot of time at the temple maintaining equipment and the Holocron archives and stuff. He wasn't very combat ready, so he's learned some defensive moves, particularly Sorasu with Jex, and then he spent some time with Quinn doing some target practice, getting a little better with blasters, and then also working with both of them, trying to help teach them and in fact improve his own force power move, since last we saw he yanked a trident into his gut. Other than that, and then monitoring the computer radio that he has set up in the cave at the base, searching for any intel of other survivors and trying to monitor Imperial movements.
All right, I'm Sean. I'm playing Quinn Malik, the human Shicho Knight. He's spent the last 8 months working with Jex and Tack on his lightsaber skills and spending time at the range perfecting his blaster that he picked up. And with much hesitation and probably a lot of coercion from the rest of the group, he did get rid of his robes and picked up a set of armored clothing. He real reluctant to let the Jedi die, sort of thing, and he's known a lot to be caught mumbling to himself, the Jedi still live, a lot, especially during his trainings and such. He's not real great with the Force, but as far as having powers or anything like that, he can use the basic move. Most of his skill is all in lightsaber and his attitude, which has probably gotten a little bit worse, seeing as how they are finding less and less traces of Jedis still alive. But that's probably what causes him to mumble to himself quite a bit. And that's it.
Alright, so as you can see, the Jedi are not in the highest of spirits as things have been going, which pretty much could be expected of anyone who survived Order 66 and did not know about the few good things that happened in that time period. Things have been fairly quiet, other than monitoring the station here and doing actual construction on the base to be ready for if you find potential other allies that need refuge. There's been the occasional trip where one or more of you and some of the Antarian Rangers will take one of the ships into some outer rim world to get supplies and that sort of thing. But other than that, it's a fairly quiet place to be when the middle of the night one evening, one of the Antarian Rangers seeks out I believe it was Jex. You're the one who had the pirate ally you rescued as your Tides of Change last time, right? Or pirate.
No, I was the clone trooper. I had the clone commander.
Yeah, I think that was Quinn.
Okay, alright, so one of the Antarian Rangers seeks you out, Quinn, probably late at night whenever you would either be sleeping or meditating, maybe wandering the camp, mumbling to yourself, something along those lines.
Okay.
As the Antarian Ranger approaches, he says, Commander Malik, you have a holo message.
From who? Did they leave
He
a
would not
name?
give a name. He says that you will recognize him.
All right. Give me a moment to get dressed, and I'll be there.
Very well. And he heads on back to the computer room, basically.
All right. Malik, having been sitting there in meditation, just a pair of pants on, he throws his jacket on, no shirt or nothing, just throws it on and heads down a few moments later.
Okay. The holo communicator that you guys have set up is kind of in a conference room type thing because it's set up because you never know how many of you would need to sit in on a particular conversation, but the room is empty at the moment other than the ranger who is basically monitoring communications. And this individual has a holo display, is on the holo display at the moment. And you instantly recognize the individual as a guy that you let off easy in the past. And he goes by the name of Sidon.
Alright, Quinn would walk in and see this, and he'd sort of still be stretching and twisting, and he'd, alright, this had better be important. It's pretty dang late. What's going on?
Sidon, like, basically as you start talking, before you are like in the camera angle, basically, he'd pick up on your voice, and he says, Jedi Malik, it is good to hear your voice again. Sorry we parted on such unsavory terms. But I had heard rumor that you were still alive.
Yeah, if that's what you can call it.
Well, I have some information that you might be interested in.
Okay. What kind of information coming from you? I don't know if I could trust it anyway.
Well, that is saying much from someone who represents an organization that is branded Galactic Traitors. But I basically believe that you were just simply ignorant of your order's ways. Because you were much too honorable to have been a traitor.
You keep throwing that word around pretty light.
Yes, well,
I don't think that's very wise.
I understand. I have come across some information that, whether you are a traitor or not, I felt like you would be interested in having.
Okay, and what's this information going to cost me?
You'll owe me a favor?
Alright, what is it?
I have found evidence that there is a ship that has a group of 32 Jedi younglings being transported from Coruscant to an Imperial prison. And I have its course.
Okay, where is it? Where is it going?
He says, I will transmit a data package with the star charts and that sort of thing, and the itinerary information. I just, I feel like you're something of a survivor, so I will give this to you and collect at a later time. At this point, the Antarian Ranger gives you a signal off the side that he's receiving the said data package, basically.
Okay. And seeing that, Quinn would sort of look over at him and then look back at the holo display. He said, alright, I got your package. And if there's nothing else, I'm going to bed.
Good luck. you're going to need it. And then it blinks off.
Yeah, he'd turn around and begin heading back toward his room, and just as he's about ready to leave, he'd turn to the ranger and he'd say, let everyone finish their night's rest. Wake everyone up first thing in the morning. They need to know of this. I'm going to bed.
The ranger kind of stifles a slight laugh at the tired expression there and nods, yes, sir. And he starts processing the data basically, because that's what you do when you're on comms.
And Quinn does exactly as he said. He heads back to his room and doesn't even take the jacket or anything off. He just flops down on his cot, and every second his head hits the pillow, he's out.
Okay. Alrighty. The next morning, everyone from your various places and whatnot, there are a pair of Ontarian Rangers that make their way through the camp and let everyone know that breakfast is ready early this morning and that everyone is requested in the conference room as soon as possible. And they're waking everyone up. I mean, not god-awful early, but a little bit earlier than would be normal, like with the normal routine. The other Rangers are kind of muttering a bit, especially those that deal with watches at night or second shift and that kind of thing, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I think Quinn would probably have skipped actually going to get anything to eat at the moment and would have gone straight to the conference room and would be waiting for everyone to arrive.
Gotcha.
I think Wraith and Seraph would be coming back in from like a very early morning like PT session, so to speak, like running or something like that.
Okay.
And you know, when they come up to her, she'll just nod and she'll go get food and make sure Wraith eats, and then go to the room.
Okay. As you filter in, the whatever serves as coffee for the calf in the camp is brewing in the conference room because it's early for everyone. And there is the technician that everyone knows was on shift last night on comms there, and he's got flimsy-plast and a data pad in his hand going over the things, and whenever Quinn makes his way in, he waves him over and basically hands him the data pad showing the information that they pulled from the data package from the night before. Quinn, whenever he hands it over to you, there is a list of 32 names. Your character wouldn't be familiar with all of them by any means, but there would be at least several that you recognize because they are a group of younglings, ages between 2 years and 7 years. So, I mean, and it's a group of 32, it's a cross-section of different races and whatnot. They are names of individuals that were being trained at the Jedi Academy on Coruscant as opposed to one of the other Jedi temples in the galaxy and that sort of thing. So you guys would be at least vaguely familiar with some of the names on the list.
Alright, so yeah, as everybody walks in and arrives, Quinn would sort of pull the squad commander sort of thing, and he'd stand up at the head of the room, and it's alright, guys. It's early. Sorry to have y'all woke up so early, but I got a communication last night in the middle of the night. These younglings have been captured. They're being transported to prison. We were given the location, and they're heading. Now, the source that this comes from, I can't be 100% that he's not filling us full of a bunch of BS, but this could be a trap. But it's the first thing that we've been given that has any real hope for our future as Jedi. We need to rescue these kids if possible. But I want to hear what all you have to say before I just send us off blindly.
The Antarian Rangers are all kind of doing the whole... because the Antarian Rangers were... I mean, you guys, as Jedi, were officers. They were just part of the groups that served in the Clone Wars and that sort of thing. So they're all kind of doing the whole bated breath, and different ones of them are looking at different ones of you to see what your reactions are.
What our reactions are, or theirs?
Yours.
I think Seraph, she'd get up and just kind of be like, "All right, so let's go." You know, she's very matter of fact about it. She's like, "I'll go start packing," and you know, come on, Wraith, let's go. And those two will go ahead and probably go straight to their stuff and start getting it ready. She did just buy a new harness for him, so she can actually ride him if she wants, but also to give him protection. So she's going to make sure that's fitted real good and make sure all of her equipment's ready.
Okay.
And
is anyone else doing anything before he gets out? She gets out of the room, or raising any concerns or anything?
I think Jex would look at the room, kind of scan it over, and kind of take in the general feel of the atmosphere before he spoke. And he would say, "Well, I agree this is very important. We should take all precautions possible to make sure that we are not caught. If we are indeed the last of the Jedi, it is just as important that we survive as that we free these younglings."
I agree. In order to ensure the survival of the Jedi, we definitely need to free them. And I agree, this could be a trap. And as we've seen 8 months ago, we'll be better prepared, I think. I'll go and see what kind of other intel I can dig up and look through the information. And
after they kind of start going back and forth, she pauses and she turns back and she says, "You realize that now we're the Jedi Council. We're the masters. These younglings are our responsibilities, just as our masters were, just as we were our masters' responsibility." It was like, there should be no hesitation in this. It was like, your fear and you know, distress about this is just going to lead to indecision, and the dark side's going to cloud your actions. I mean, if it's a trap, we will deal with the trap when we get there. But as far as I'm concerned, even the chance of there being a youngling at risk and alive, we need to risk it all. They are the future of the Order.
Yeah, Jex turns to you and he says, "You would do well not to mistake caution for fear. We will have a better chance of succeeding if we make a plan beforehand, and contingency plans, than if we were to simply dive in blindly. Your impatience is getting the better of you."
I'm sure we will have a long flight to discuss the plans.
jumping to action may be worse than hesitation. I'm not trying to hesitate. We just need to look at all the intel first. That way we can prevent further damage.
At this point, one of the Antarian Rangers, one of the senior, like the older ones, probably the oldest of the Antarian Rangers, kind of clears his throat and says, "We will prepare the encampment for your return, but also for possible evacuation in case it is a trap. Either way." The communications officer that was handling things says, as he's passing out or passing what was it, Tack a copy of the data that he's got. He said, based on my understanding of this information, we have a couple of different spots that we can try to make the rescue at. Each of them have different pros and cons to them, as far as I can tell. Kind of, I've kind of outlined what I see from my cursory look at it. The records that this friend of Commander Malik sent us seems legit. There's actually Imperial records involved. Encryptions were still in place with encryption keys attached in the data package.
Quinn would look at these older officers, and he'd specifically the one that said that there's multiple areas that could work. He'd look at him and he'd say, "Okay, with your expertise, which has the greater likelihood of success?"
Says that according to the records, they are being transported via a nondescript freighter. It's not a typical Imperial transport, so if we had the ships and the resources, taking it out in space, like capturing it in space, would be easier than it would seem for an Imperial prison transport because of that. But at the same time, our strength of resources is not in that department. We don't have ion cannons fitted on these two freighters, and I don't have contacts with anyone that I would trust to bring in on the matter that does. Outside of that option, there are 3 stops that this thing is scheduled to have. One of them is at a space station in the Corellian system, which would be potentially chaotic enough for us to do something, but at the same time, it is a heavily populated system. The odds of one of us being identified would be significantly higher. There is also a stop in the mid-rim at a outpost that is believed to be a communications center for Imperials, that they are taking on some other prisoners there, according to the records. That one, while low as far as the potential people to identify us, if we are spotted, it's a communications center. The word would get out super fast, and there'd be no way of stopping it. So reinforcements could be there quickly. And the last is the prison world itself. And so it's possible we could make a hit there. Like I said, each of them have pros and cons depending on what we want to bring to bear and how much resources we want to spend on this, as opposed to keeping this place secure here and that sort of thing. So,
Well, prisons are mostly designed to keep people in, not to keep people from getting in. The likelihood of this communication center is great enough. I think we should avoid it. The Corellian sector, though I've never been through the Corellian sector, like you said, the likelihood that some of us would be recognized is high. I think the prison world is going to be our best bet, but it's likely to be heavily guarded just because they're there to keep people in. What do you think, the 3 of you, or the 2 of you as Seraph has left?
I agree that the space station is a poor choice. Not so much as us being recognized. I think we've done a pretty good job thus far staying off the radar. We don't quite flag ourselves as Jedi anymore, unfortunately. But there's going to be bystanders. We don't need to drag any innocent lives into this. I agree with your concerns on the comm center, but with my skills, I think that may be our better option. If we can shut down their comms, there'll be less. We have less bystanders to worry about, as well as less guards, less resistance, like we would have at the prison. And then, likewise, with the prison, that's the last stop. If we fail there, we fail.
I agree with the idea that if we fail there, we will fail as well. They may not be there to keep people out, but what kind of break-in attempt would be considered not to have outside help? They would be prepared for some kind of attempt like this, especially with cargo as precious as the younglings. All right, does anyone have any favors we can call in? Anyone? And he looks to the two of you, hoping that he won't have to pull out and like somebody. He's a bounty hunter that kind of owes him a favor, but he's not sure he can trust him.
I have no one that owes me. In fact, I now owe someone for this information. If the two of you think that the comm center or the possible comm center is our best bet, then I'll take your judgment by it, especially with Tack being our comm specialist. If he thinks he can jam their signal or shut them down, I'll put my faith in him. And if it is a comm center, they're all going to be Imperials, who we never know. Some of them may still have some sympathies. So, if you still think the comm center is the better of the choices, I say that's where we head for.
Like I said, I'm no tactician. I'm just a technician. So whatever you guys think would be better to assault, like I said, I just know with my capabilities, we should at least be able to jam them long enough in order to get in and shut their comms down completely.
So I have a question for you, Joshua. Here,
Okay.
if I wanted to flip a destiny point to get a bounty hunter that potentially has access to ion cannons to help us with a space assault, would I be able to do that?
I would allow that. Someone that has a favor that could influence the options before you, basically.
Yeah. So Jex looks around and he says, well, I do have one person that owes me a favor. A bounty hunter from way back. He probably has ion cannons. It might open up the option for an assault in space, if you want to take that route.
As like Jex said, or like Tex said, I'm no tactician. I'm just a knight. I follow orders. If you have a favor that could help us here, I'd say any and all help is appreciated and needed.
I have a question. Can I come back in there because like I'm already packed up and I'm wondering what's taking so long?
Yeah, you can make your way back as things are being discussed. A couple of the Antarian Rangers, as the discussion's kind of settled that action is coming about, it's just now a discussion of what form. So a couple of them that you know are more of the tech hands that work on the ships. They go and start fueling the ships and making sure enough supplies and some medical supplies that y'all have are stocked onto the ship onto one of the ships.
So, out of character real quick, who's going to pilot this? Am I the only one with piloting skill?
That's if that's the route that's decided.
Dude, I'm just wondering.
I have no piloting.
I have no piloting either.
Okay, so I guess I'm piloting. Okay, cool. I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Back in character, I'm gonna assume she comes back in at the tactician part. She's like, if you guys pick a place that you want to do this, she's like, I'm quite proficient in guerrilla tactics and that type of warfare. That was my specialty during the Clone Wars. Maybe I can help figure out the plan if we're gonna drag this out this long. And she kind of sighs and sits down in a chair and puts her boots up on the conference table and pets Wraith's head.
Well,
I
the
believe-
Antarians is like, okay.
I believe that perhaps we should hedge our bets. We should plan for the communication facility, but we should attempt to take them before they reach it. Does everyone agree?
Yeah, I like that idea.
It sounds good to me.
The Ontarian Ranger that
My
was
question
manning
is,
communications.
This communication facility, is it something that we could buy the people off of, or can we bring enough Antarian Rangers to subdue the crew and make it appear as if everything's running smoothly?
That's a good question. How large is this communication facility?
The guy who's done the research, he says, I'm not 100% sure. I do know that it's been used for the better part of a couple of years, so it's not just a new facility. It was used by some of the clone troopers during the war. It was a hub of information going from the core worlds out to the outer rim in different movements. I don't know what priority level the Imperials have put on it as far as reinforcing it or anything along those lines. I don't have any current intelligence on it.
How many Rangers do we have at our disposal that could go with it?
There's only 11 Rangers that you have, so there's a total of 15 people, and it was a little makeshift colony here.
Okay, well then that's not going to be an option, because we need them here just in case.
Indeed. As well, we should be expecting this communications tower to be reinforced if they are shuttling Lianglings through it. They may not want to draw attention to the freighter itself, but reinforcing a communications facility would not necessarily draw the attention.
It's quite possible. The communications guy says, why don't you try contacting your bounty hunter friend and see where that potential lead even goes, and then we will have a better idea of whether we're going for a space attack or the communications center.
So
It seems like no one wants to deal with Corellia, so that actually buys us an extra day and a half as far as the itinerary goes if we're not even going to make a move at Corellia. The time from there to the communication center is about a day and a half, so that gives us just over a week to put a plan together if we're going to act at or before the communication center.
So Jex will get TAC to help send out a coded message to the bounty hunter, who I've decided his name is going to be Bando.
Bando? Okay.
Bando.
Bando.
Alright. Let's see here. Do I have any good pictures for this Bando already?
Can he please look like Jamie Foxx? Please?
No. Look like Jamie Foxx. Bando is going to look like this guy. Maybe it opens. Here we go.
I love you can tell you have multiple displays.
Huh?
He does not look like Jamie Foxx. I am sad.
Yeah. So yeah, Bando. After a little bit of work with encryption and giving a call towards this guy, eventually this old gruff bounty hunter type answers, and he's talking through like a rebreather type contraption on his face at the moment. Wherever he's at, it's not got the best of atmosphere at the present time. What do you want?
Bando, it's been a long time.
Yes, it has.
I'd like to call in that favor you owe me.
I seem to remember things differently than you do.
Oh, do you now? I seem to recall pulling your ass out of the lava pit.
True. There may have been that involved. What do you want?
I was wondering if you could procure ships with ion cannons. I want to hit a freighter. It's carrying cargo that I wish to acquire.
That's not your normal MO.
Let's just say this cargo is innocent and doesn't deserve what's being done to it.
Well, you always were all high and mighty when it comes to deeming some things innocent and some things not. I don't personally have ships of that type, but I can probably do so. How much is the job paying for the ships and crew?
Every credit I have.
And he kind of looks over his shoulder and then looks back at you. I know you're no longer tied into the Republic bank accounts. So what does that actually mean?
And he looks to everybody else and kind of like gestures like how much we got is the kind of gesture he gives, because he's running a bit low. I think he has, let me see if I can find how many credits I have. I have 412 credits currently for me.
Someone else has 63, 450. So y'all may have 1,000 of raw credits, and then y'all the various like medical supplies and communication equipment that y'all scavenged that you could barter off and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I give him a rough estimate to how much, and remind him that he'll be clearing his debt, his favor, so he won't have to worry about that popping up in the least convenient time.
He's like, huh. Let me make some calls and see what I can do. It's not much to work with, but I may be able to get something together for you.
Very well. Any help at all would be appreciated.
Yeah. And then, like, it just blinks off immediately.
Yeah.
So then, what do y'all do next? I didn't see what got said. I just saw "Shut up, Ray."
No, I was saying he can make more if he just turns us in. Go ahead and flip a dark side point. Meanwhile, Tech's going to take a look at the route they're taking and try and see if there's a spot on the hyper lanes where they'll be jumping out of that we could try to ambush them at.
Okay.
Prior to the compost.
Prior to the compost, so after they leave Corellian system, then there is one spot where they will be popping out of hyperspace briefly and then re-entering hyperspace. So if you were poised there, you could make a move before they re-entered hyperspace. Assuming that they're on time, you would only have a very small window to make your move. And if you missed it, you'd be racing them to the comm outpost at that point, basically. So.
All right. Well, this looks like our only option. They'll enter a hyperlane just outside of Corellia, out of the space station in the Corellian system here, and then they'll have to change to a different lane in order to make it to the comm center. We'll only have a small opportunity to make this work. So hopefully Bando can come through with this ship. Otherwise, we'll have to try and beat them to the comm center.
It sounds to me like, if nothing else, if they don't come through, we should be attempting to damage their engines, perhaps their hyperdrive, strand them, and board them.
It's possible. Alright, about, like, different plans and stuff get discussed, a little montage of people making different preparations around the encampment. About an hour and a half, 2 hours later, whoever it is that's manning the comm units at this point in the day hits his comm link over to Jex and says, "Your friend is reestablished contact."
Patch him through.
The voice comes crackling through to the comm unit, and you hear Bando says, "All right, I got a ship for you. It's nothing fancy, but based on the description of this freighter you've got for me, I mean, it seems like it would be able to handle the job. It's got a ion cannon on dorsal and ventral on turrets, so it'd give you some options as far as approaches. It's not the fastest ship that I've ever worked with, so just got to take that into account."
And I put him in position so that as soon as they drop out of hyperspace, we can hit them. Surprise. Complete element of surprise. There.
Okay. Says, "Do you need a crew as well, or do you have your own crew already for this?"
I would need a pilot.
Okay. I can arrange such.
And perhaps, I'm just going to check me here real quick. Does anyone have gunnery here? I've only got 2 green. So I would assume, I guess we need a gunner too. So
I think Seraph at least has a decent agility, but I don't know.
But she's piloting the other ship though.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So just a gunner and a pilot.
Very well. I assume you'll be taking care of the boarding operations once
Indeed.
the target is disabled.
Indeed.
All right. So I got this worked out. They will. Let's see here. Can you rendezvous? You can hear him looking at a star chart, basically, where he's pulling. You can hear the little beeping of his computer. Can you rendezvous near Felucia in, say, 3 days?
Do we have that much time?
Yeah, because you've got almost a week
Okay.
till the point where you need to be there. And if you go to Felucia, you'd have about a 6-hour window in order to make contact and get off the world on your way to the other place where you would be set up with several hours of being in the black of space waiting on your target.
I believe we can make that work.
Very well.
See you, Felucia.
You've got my comm frequency. Let me know when you're there. We'll rendezvous there.
Will do. Good working with you again.
That remains yet to be seen.
And the comm frequency blinks off.
Okay. Alright, so what are you guys going to do next? Y'all got a couple of days. Getting to Felucia will take you about a day and a half, so you've got about a day and a half to prepare either here or there or somewhere in between if you need to.
Tack's gonna study some star charts and see if he can find a route that will save us more time, so we don't have such a crunch to make the meeting.
Okay.
Might I also suggest that he spends time looking for a faster route from the hyperspace jump point if they get away to the comm center so that we can cut them off?
Absolutely, I can. I'll look for that one. I'll look
Okay.
at that as well.
So, let's see here. For the first idea, give me an astrogation check, difficulty of 2 purple, and we'll say 2 setback dice simply because you guys don't have the most up-to-date star chart access on this backwater world. So 2 successes. So you find you don't find anything that's going to significantly cut time down here and there, but you do find an efficient route where basically, based on the rendezvous coordinates, if you were able to leave from Felucia immediately at the rendezvous timeline, you would have a 12-hour. You have 12 hours instead of 6 hours, basically, of timed either be spending on Felucia or in the dead of space waiting on your target. So you bought yourself a few extra hours, which may be all the difference. You never know. And then the second one you were looking for was a better route from Corellia, or from the spot to the comm unit. We'll call that one difficulty 3 with the 2 setback dice. Two successes and a threat. You do find somewhere that a good route. It does appear that it would be slightly faster than the itinerary for this freighter is projecting, but you're not 100% sure by how much faster. So, but it looks like it will be a little more efficient than what they've got, what their timeline shows as far as their itinerary.
And then for the threat, it could be close. We may be cutting it close to a large star.
Yeah, there's downside that'll manifest somewhere along the way.
Sounds good.
All right. So y'all got about a day and a half to either spend here or on Felucia or somewhere in between if you want. What additional preparations or what do you want to do with that amount of time?
It looks like I've bought us some more time, but I reckon we should probably get packed. I know Seraph's and Wraith is chomping at the bit to get out of here and stretch their legs. So I'm going to go get my gear ready.
I think Jex would go pack as well, but not before suggesting that perhaps they do some target practice drills on the way. Like in that extra time that we have, we do some target practice on asteroids or something, some such.
Okay. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Like actually practicing gunnery skills somewhere in this system before you leave. Alrighty. That seems pretty straightforward for people to do. How much lead time do you want to give yourselves when you get to Felucia? Because you've got the travel time. It's going to be in 3 days. It's a day and a half to get to Felucia. How much in advance of your rendezvous do you want to actually arrive in that system?
Just in case it's a trap, I say we get there first and kind of find a good hiding spot.
Well, I mean, Felucia is a slightly populated system. It's not super populated like Corellia is, but population, like Tatooine, it's sparsely populated and that kind of thing. The rendezvous is at a cantina. Pretty standard type stuff as far as that goes. But
Felucia, I would be pretty familiar with. That's Shaak Ti's home planet, I'm pretty sure. One of her favorite planet.
I don't remember if that's the case.
Yeah, no, before they made it non-canon, that's where she went to hide.
Felucia is a colorful jungle planet. Now, Felucia, I don't know what Shaak Ti's relation is, but Jedi Knight Aliyah Sakura was executed by Commander Bly of the 327th Star Corps on Felucia. It was Aliyah Sakura that is the one that has the significant thing there.
Okay.
It doesn't. There's not, a couple others that have had significant missions there were Ahsoka Tano, Gworm, and Suji. But
It's a hot, humid, jungle-type planet, and it was associated with the Confederacy during the Clone Wars. It was not a republic, or yeah, it was not a republic world.
It not being a republic or a separatist world, what are the chances that one of us did at least some kind of operation on Felucia at some point?
Probably pretty high, because it was the location of several battles between the Republic and Confederacy during the Clone Wars. Man, I can't talk tonight. Let's see here. So I would say it's a pretty good chance that at least one of you at least passed through the system, if not spent significant time there.
Okay. So who wants to volunteer to be the person who's actually been here before?
I mean, it would make sense. I mean,
Okay.
technically it's no longer canon, but Force Unleashed, Shocked, he goes there. But I think it's also kind of more my speed, jungly, and
Yeah.
forest.
And you were all about getting behind enemy lines, and this was controlled by the Confederacy through the entirety of the Clone Wars, even though there were several battles over it. So.
Exactly.
All right. So Seraph has been on the world before. Seraph, in that case, I'll let you
offense to my
know
compatriot.
that there are two. Other than just the people that live there are two major predators of note. Or not, there's one major predator of note and one major export that is an animal that is a little odd. The T. mus is a domesticated species. They're native to Onderon, and they serve as battle mounts to people not wealthy enough to deal with actual speeders and that kind of thing. So there's quadruped animals that are on this world. And anytime you've got a domesticated prey species like that, somewhere along the way a predator comes along, and there are rancors on this world.
We've already dealt with one of those. It wasn't pleasant.
My arch enemies. Rancors. I hate
But they do exist on this world, so it'd be something you would know. Alright, so y'all want to get there several, hours before the meeting, or y'all want to get there a full day before, or what?
I'd say 6 hours is 6 to 8 hours is probably a good point. I mean, it gives us less chance to be recognized, but it does give us a chance to get established.
Okay. So basically, you want to time it to where you guys can sleep on the ship, and then whenever you're coming into system, everyone's kind of waking up to where you got your full day ahead of you, with the meeting being nightfall type timeline.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Alrighty, so you guys arrive on Felucia, going through the various security measures, which are not extensive, but there is an Imperial presence at the main starbase here. A slight Imperial outpost has been set up with a battalion of stormtroopers and that sort of thing.
Okay, so we got stormtroopers here already. So definitely glad none of us are dressed like Jedi anymore.
That's a good start, yes.
Okay, what all do we need to do to prepare? Like, what it's supposed to be in a tavern, right? You said the meeting?
The cantina, yeah.
Cantina. So maybe we should scope out the cantina and check it out. I'll actually leave Wraith at the ship because I feel like he would stick out like a sore thumb in a cantina.
You're probably right there.
He can kind of guard the ship while maybe me and somebody else go to the cantina, and then the other two stay on the ship and monitor for the incoming hostile, so to speak. Does that sound like a plan, or does anybody else have another idea?
I'd like to expand on that idea. I think that Quinn should be the other one to go with you because TAC is for monitoring me, and if it is a trap set up for us, then I'm going to be the one they're looking for because I'm the one who contacted him.
I was just going to volunteer Quinn to go with you.
Okay. How is Quinn at cunning and stealthiness and all that stuff?
Not great, but he's not horrible.
Okay.
Above
All right.
average, but that's about it.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna shadow you.
Okay.
So you're gonna be out in the open, and I'm gonna just be in the shadows. You know, you can get it from your perspective of you just walking in there and seeing what happens, and I'll just kind of stick to the edge of everything, and watch your back without anybody knowing. You know, because it's always good for them to think that you're by yourself, and then if I come out of nowhere, and you know, I at least have surprise. That way, they're not ambushing two people; they're ambushing one person. You know what I mean?
Sounds good.
And I'm really proficient at stealth, so.
Sounds perfect. Right up Quinn's alley.
All right.
Cool.
So Quinn and Seraph are going to go check the area out first, and Jex, you're staying on the ship out of sight until closer to the meeting. Is that what I'm gathering? Because you're the face associated with the meeting right now, so the longer you're out of sight, in theory, the better.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. If everyone would roll me your force die, force rating.
And that'll be the only time tonight I roll 2 light sides.
All right.
Holy shit, bro.
So Lee.
Or dead even, I think.
Okay, so that's Mikey. That's Sean. So Lee is Jex. Okay. That's ironic because the one guy who's staying behind and just having to wait to hear what happens and like react to it. You have a sense of foreboding that is kind of setting up as you're doing the whole like sitting, listening to the comms, and trying to meditate and keep yourself cool. You have a feeling that something is wrong, but you can't.
What's TAC doing? Just wondering.
I think TAC was monitoring the scanners, right?
He'd be monitoring comms and scanners, looking for his ship to come in. And since we're at a more sort of
populated area.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I'm assuming I'd have an easier time trying to dig up information over the HoloNet since we're not. You know,
yeah, and I mean, you're probably also using this time just to update files. I mean, it's like you're now. You got Wi-Fi. You're not just doing the mission. You're also using this time to get updated information in general.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that if I could, you know, try to update our star charts a little bit.
Is he getting high-speed HoloNet, or are we having to pay for it? By the gigabyte.
I think Jex, when he starts to feel really uncomfortable like this, he stops his meditation and he goes over to TAC and he says, "Can you hack into the Imperial comm frequencies? I have a bad feeling about this."
Oh, and now it's a Star Wars game.
Yep, we're there.
Can I hack into their comm frequencies? And then he gets to work on it.
I have a question.
3 setback dice to the security system.
I'm sorry, what was
TAC
that?
saying that, can I hack into their security systems, or was he genuinely asking himself, can I hack into them?
He was kind of like chuckling, like, can I? Just wait and see. Let's see.
Difficulty 2 with 3 setbacks due to the security level. So if you've got the bypass security, I think it's called, you can reduce that. But.
That's pointless. How many setback? I'm sorry.
3.
With 2 difficulty.
Yeah.
All right. Of course I can hack. Come on.
Wow. Okay. So you get into their system, and generally speaking, the stuff that's catching your attention, I mean, it's general chatter that you expect from a base. I mean, just people coming and going, people reporting in, nothing too out of line. The triumph in this particular case, because of what you're doing, you discover that you find a particular communication setup that mentions Jedi on the planet. Like you find a particular communique that indicates that there is a trap being set up to capture a Jedi that's believed to be on planet in the next 12 hours.
So, Jex, you may not like this. I was able to get some information. I think this may be a trap. I mean, there could be somebody else, but considering the time frame, they're saying that they're going to catch a Jedi in the next 12 hours. I think that might be you.
I agree. I have the Force. I have a bad feeling about this. I can just feel the disturbance.
And at this point, like right as he's like agreeing with you, and he's like, "I feel the disturbance." Tack, you like get deep enough into the file, you're like, "But that's not the location where our rendezvous is." It's like 3 blocks away, which on a planetary scale is a pretty big coincidence. But there, you found where they are expecting to capture this Jedi, which means they've either got bad intel or.
All right. Well.
You interrupt us,
more.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
They're either really smart, really dumb, or it's not you.
It's disinformation.
There may be somebody else who happens to be here, and they're going to be nearby. Or they know that we're going to be looking, and the trap may be us trying to stop a trap. Or, like I said, they just have bad intel, and they're looking for us in the wrong location, so we may be okay. We might want to let the others know, and I don't know, what do you guys want to do?
Well, if they are looking for me, perhaps it's best if I stay on the ship. And And he tries to think of how you would contact the if he does show up, how you would contact him without being him, because he's expecting to run into Jax, right?
Yep.
And so he remembers the first thing that he ever said to the bounty hunter, which was a compliment on his blaster.
Okay.
And so he tells him to say the exact same compliment to the blaster.
Okay. So you got a plan as far as how you'll make contact if you don't go yourself.
Yeah.
All right. While you guys are communicating to Seraph and Quinn about what you found out and are debating this, Seraph and Quinn, give me vigilance tests.
Before we do that, can we find out what the compliment was? Just because
Okay.
this needs to be said.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm actually looking up a
This is all
compliment.
checking out the area beforehand anyway, so.
Yeah. I'm actually currently looking up a blaster right now. I need to know like a name for a blaster. Yeah. It had night sights, so he complimented the night sights on a specific blaster, which is what I'm looking for right now.
Okay.
You said vigilance?
Yeah,
What's the
vigilance
difficulty?
test. 1 red, 1 purple, 1 black.
Okay, I can get rid of a black. Actually, I can get rid of 2 black, so I'm going to get rid of one of them.
That's always good when
Okay.
you can do so.
And then I'm gonna roll. Damn, so successful.
All right, so both of you got successes. Okay, so Quinn, you notice that there is a woman that, like, as you guys are making your way through town on your way to the cantina to case the area and that sort of thing, you're making a round of the block or whatever, and you notice that you've picked up a tail. There's a woman. She. Let's see here. Can I zoom in on this?
She's got the moves like Jagger.
I hate whenever. I think this will work. Yeah. She's dressed somewhat noble-like, although it's loose-fitting clothing for the humid weather that is here, since it is a jungle world. She doesn't look to have the criminal element vibe about her, but I mean, you could tell after making like a round of the block and whatnot, and the fact that you've got the feeling that she's following you. Seraph. Seraph, you notice not only that this person is following him because you're shadowing him, but you notice that she has a concealed weapon at the small of her back.
And what is that concealed weapon? Can I make that out?
You can't make out that much detail without giving yourself away, potentially. But you can tell that there is a weapon there.
Can I use do you want me to roll stealth, by the way?
No, not yet.
Okay. Oh. Check out that.
I don't. What the heck?
You're still screen sharing.
Oh.
Yeah,
That
you're
was weird.
showing us how much money you're making on adventure, capital adventure, whatever. We're going, or I'll just continue following her. And if I am able to, maybe trying to figure out what she's concealing. But I'm only going to do it if I feel like it's safe. I'm also going to whisper into the comlink that you have a tail, because I don't know if he knows it or not.
Right. Okay. So, Quinn, do you want to do anything about it, or are you just going to keep walking around the blocks and stuff?
I tell him to
Quinn-
fly casual.
Yeah, Quinn just kind of keeps walking. No,
Okay.
He doesn't head directly for the cantina yet. He's just sort of meandering around, knowing he has a tail, but trying not to let it be known that he knows.
Okay. Try not to let it be known that you know you have a tail while not letting it know where you're actually surveilling. Gotcha. Sufficiently confused
This is
yet?
getting complicated.
Uh,
That you know that I know that I know that you know.
Alrighty. So you guys, you basically, I mean, are you looking for anything particular in your surveillance, or are you just casing the area, seeing if anything catches your attention?
I guess we'd be looking for any people who are obviously out of place, people who aren't obviously out of place but out of place.
So anything that catches your attention, okay.
Yeah.
Don't forget the people that are too obviously in place. They're perfectly blended in.
They look like they've lived here their whole lives. That can't be correct.
A
Also,
quick way out.
Yeah, I was about to
Quick
say,
ways
we want to know how many ins and outs there are to this
Okay.
canteen.
This particular neighborhood in general is you quickly realize it is a group of about 6 cantinas, a couple of pawn shops, several hotels, that sort of thing. It's about half a mile or so to the spaceport, just far enough to not be the spaceport dregs where you're hearing the ships rumble all day and night, but like when the big ships leave, you'll still hear it here type thing.
I have a question.
Okay.
If I wanted to bump into her and try to oh, I'm so sorry, and I guess it would be like skullduggery, like pickpocket her. See
Yeah,
if I
that would be skullduggery if you want to try something like that.
Do you guys think I should?
Well, I mean, that's ultimately up to you, since you're the one who is stealthing and having to make that decision. But I will tell you that the odds of you doing the bump into them and not her not noticing at all is pretty slim. Whether or not she notices what you're actually trying to do is another matter.
I'm trying to be obvious about bumping into her. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna be just like shoulder checker. I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I didn't mean to knock you over, or whatever happens. I'm gonna roll with it. But I think I want to, because she's really bugging me out. Even if I can't get what it is, I want to see if I can get a tactile feel on it, maybe I can identify it. Does that make sense?
Okay. So let's see here. Skullduggery in this case would be opposed by
Vigilance, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, it would be vigilance.
With what you're trying to do, I'm actually going to make it opposed by her coordination, because you're actually trying to get a grab on something that she has. It doesn't matter whether she notices you get the grab. That's less important to whether or not you actually do get a hold of it. So in this case, that would be 1 red and 2 purple. And then because of that, I'm going to give you 2 setback dice.
Holy shit. Okie dokie. If I spend a destiny point, doesn't that give me another yellow dice?
Well, if you have green, it will change one of your green to a yellow. If you have all yellow, it will give you a green in addition to your current pool.
Okay, I'm going to flip this dice, or this thing.
So one of your greens upgrades to a yellow, or if you had all yellow, you now have another green.
I have another green, or another yellow, I mean.
Okay.
And then let's roll it.
2 successes and a threat. So you get a feel for what the weapon is, and the threat will be, just like in combat, you can normally spend an advantage to notice something significant about the current encounter. The threat will be that she notices that that's what you got, what you were trying to feel in the encounter. So I'll share this picture. This should give you a good idea of what is concealed.
Oh, fucking awesome.
You feel the hilt of a lightsaber.
Oh, shit.
And she, when she, at first you bump into her and she does plays the whole noble lady type, oh, pardon me, sir, and then when she realizes what you did, she, locks eyes with you, and you see in that moment a look of sheer terror on her face.
Terror?
As she takes a step backwards.
Yeah, dude, under lightsaber, she doesn't know you're a Jedi. She's freaking out.
But I don't know if she's a Jedi. Does she feel dark?
You don't feel her in the Force at all.
Oh, that's creepier.
Now that you're trying, you're like, what?
I'm so sorry.
She says,
I didn't rough you out. Just clumsy.
And she just turns and starts walking away. as you start to try to explain, she tries to make an excuse for a moment. She stutters like 2 or 3 times, and then she just turns and walks away.
Remember that we did tell you that there was a chance there was another Jedi on the planet.
Should I follow her? I'm gonna follow her. Hey, I'm gonna be like, hey, wait, come here, stop. I'm not gonna hurt you.
Oh goodness, this is gonna be funny. This was not the way I thought you would find her.
I'm gonna be like, ooh, I know,
What's
something
your
that
range
only
defense, Seraph?
Jedi might recognize.
What's
Can
your
I
range
say,
defense?
My range defense?
Yeah.
Dose.
Dose?
Oh, you could say a part of the Jedi code because not the Jedi.
That's what I was gonna
do. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna do. As she's like starting to walk away, I'm gonna go. There is no.
There's no passion. There is only
peace.
Yeah.
Okay, so she failed what she was trying to do. She only got dark side pips, but she got an advantage and a triumph.
I mean, it works because she's in terror.
Yeah, it fits. Okay, so you start following her, and as soon as you start following her, she turns around and she makes the telltale motion of like trying to grab something with force and motioning it towards you. And you are very happy to see that the speeder bike that you are walking past does not come, or I mean not the speeder bike, speeder that you are walking past does not leave its spot on the ground. Or actually, no, wait, she does miss you, but that doesn't mean she doesn't grab it. So yeah, actually a speeder, full-on speeder, comes flying towards you.
Can I like Matrix backflip over it or something cool like that?
Yeah, and we'll say that the triumph in this case will be that the way you evade the speeder combined with the phrase that you're uttering as it came flying at you gives her definitive insight to the fact that you are actually a Jedi and not someone hunting Jedi. And she suddenly just like, the fear kind of washes away briefly as she just kind of, and the speeder like crashes into a wall, people start scattering and panicking and all that kind of thing, and she just kind of freezes there like not sure what to do.
I grab her by the hand and I go, come with me, and I like take her and I start running.
If you want to live.
Come with me if you want to live.
Come with me if you. I was actually gonna say I'm the doctor. Run.
Oh. See, I thought you were pulling a Finn to.
Well, I was.
Right.
I was pulling a. Or the doctor. But I'm gonna grab her by the hand and be like, "Come on, come with me now."
She starts following quickly, and as you guys make your exit.
And I'm gonna go over the comm to Quinn and be like, "We have a Jedi."
So Quinn, they were following you, and all of a sudden, as you're like walking along, doing your whole surveillance thing, when you glance back over your shoulder at one point, you see that Seraph has suddenly actually confronted her, and then you see a speeder go flying through the air and crash into the building nearby. People are appropriately freaking out because that's not supposed to happen. So what do you do?
Here's a neuralizer when you need one.
Wrong sci-fi setting.
Quinn would attempt to act just as shocked as everybody else.
Okay. Give me a difficulty 1 deception check.
Alright, let's see.
I mean, it's pretty basic to be shocked because, I mean, it is still a speeder flying through the air. But,
I mean, he might legitimately be shocked.
okay, yeah. It is believable, at least. No one is suspicious about your shock value.
Yeah, he acts just like the rest of the crowd. I mean, shocked that this is going on, and at the same time as trying to get away from it, trying to get a look at what's going on.
Okay. Give me a perception test, difficulty 2, with 2 setbacks because of the chaos.
So 2 setback.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not real perceptive.
All right, so
At this moment.
you're not able to track everything easily. You pick up a few details with those advantages of, you pick up on, like, you don't see Seraph and the girl make their escape. You do, with the advantages, pick up on, like, one guy, you do see that the debris from the building that was crashed into in the speeder has injured someone, and that guy is someone else is running to his help, trying to unpin his leg from under a piece of debris. You also notice that someone else has pulled out a comm unit and is calling emergency services, basically 911 equivalent, whatever that happens to be. And with the Triumph, you notice...
What do you notice?
I've got an
person, and this person, what catches your attention about this person is the fact that they don't have the same level of shock value going on as most of the other people in the area. She seems to be watching and taking notes on that data pad, and then turns to walk away.
Get her.
Okay, so as she turns to walk away, Quinn would follow her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you trying to go unnoticed, or are you trying to catch her, or are you trying to shadow her?
Trying to sort of blend in with the crowd, as far as just trying to make it look like when he's trying to get away from this whole mess, that's the same direction he's going.
Okay.
Not necessarily trying to not be seen, but...
Okay, so rather than stealth, it would be more deception.
Yeah.
He's flying casually.
So we'll go with deception. You'll get 2 boost dice due to the chaos, but also because of the chaos, like, keeping track of her is harder, so you'll have 2 setback dice, and it will be difficulty of 1 red, 1 purple. So, like, the chaos is helping and hurting you, because, like, you're bumping into people and trying to keep track of her without giving yourself away. And 2 successes, 4 advantages. So you are staying, keeping her in sight with the successes. Advantage-wise, we'll say 3 of those are making it where she's not realizing you're following her at all. And then the last advantage, you'll notice that...
Gaining a little ground?
Well, I was going to go with it. You'll notice that emergency services are arriving, and it's not just locals. There are a couple of stormtroopers, like 2 pairs of stormtroopers that have arrived in the area. I mean, if they're arriving from this direction, there's probably more arriving from another direction type thing, but you see that there is actually an Imperial response to things.
Okay.
But she's making her way towards the spaceport.
Alright, yeah, so as they get further from this accident and all that, Quinn would use his comm link to let everybody know that there's now an Imperial presence here, and he'd also at the same time trying to be close a little ground between them, trying to catch up a little bit.
Okay. Do you actually want to catch her before she enters the spaceport area, or...?
I'd like to try to, yeah.
Okay. Alright, we're going to pause with you real quick and go back to Seraph and the girl. Seraph, where are you going?
We're going back to the ship.
Okay.
That's the safest place.
Please take an oblong route and be really confusing about it.
I am, and I'm actually going to link up with Wraith. And I'm going to have him...
I don't think your link goes quite that far. Maybe at extreme range, but you're still you're going to be almost a mile away still at this point.
I mean, it doesn't say anything about a range.
Does it not?
Oh yeah, at long range. You're right. Never mind.
Yeah, so you're not far
so
enough, not close enough to Wraith to really get any kind
I
of.
guess as soon as we get
You
within
can tell
long
that
range,
Wraith's
I'm
still there and Wraith's anxious because you're anxious, but that's about the extent of the link at this range.
okay. I'm gonna well, I do have a comm link on his little saddle.
Okay. You can comm to the group or whatever.
I'm gonna comm to the ship group and be like, I found the Jedi that they were gonna ambush, and we are currently en route to the ship. And I'm gonna then say, as soon as we get within range, make sure you guys get outside and have our back, just in
Sarah,
case.
as you are making that explanation to them,
Tack's going to respond. I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong person. Please get off of our comm line. We don't want any of your trouble. You have the wrong comm.
I thought our comms were secure.
they could be.
We've been
Keep
using
in mind, TAC can hack comm things pretty easily. There could be someone else, for all you know.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
And as you are having this conversation on the comm link, you got her hand like doing the whole like Finn run style, like where you're dragging her behind you type thing, and all of a sudden a speeder bike comes flying past your head. Doesn't hit you, doesn't get close really, but like comes flying past you and like crashes into the street. It was
She
unmanned.
threw that?
You're not sure. You aren't looking at her. You don't feel her grabbing with the force or anything.
But I didn't feel her grabbing the force before that.
Nope, you haven't.
I looked back at her. I was like, "Did you do that?" I actually
When you
yelled.
look back, she's got that panicked look, and she hasn't let go of your hand yet, but now you feel like she is actually holding on more than just being drugged. And she says, "How do I know you're not one of them?"
Oh, what would be a good way of explaining this?
The question is,
I give
what
her
are you
I give
explaining
her
at
my
all?
full name. Say again.
What are you explaining?
I
That's
give
the
her my
question.
full name. I'm like, my name's Seraph Kellos. I'm a Jedi Knight. I fought in the Clone Wars. My master was Shock T. I was
She
like,
lets
and
go.
if you know any of those names,
When you say Shock T, she lets go and stops running.
okay, I stop running. What? And I go. I'm like, what?
Have you not paid attention to the news?
I know she's dead. I was there.
She was one of the conspirators. The Jedi Council tried to assassinate the Chancellor.
Oh God. She even says that, and like runs her hands through her hair. The Jedis aren't the bad guys.
That doesn't mean we didn't have conspirators in our ranks.
Yeah, but
You were trained by one of them.
okay, just run with me for a minute, and I'll explain. Like, the best way to get us to distrust each other is disinformation. Propaganda. Come on, use your brain. Let's go. I just yanked you out of a town where they were going to ambush you.
At which point she takes a step back and she says, "I'm not helping you anymore."
You haven't helped me at all. You threw a freaking speeder at me.
Yeah, but I didn't hit you with it.
Because I dodged it.
So,
Did you not see that sweet move I did when I flipped over it?
and that doesn't help your case in any way, shape, or form.
What? how am I supposed to help my case? Can I? I don't know what to do. Look, we have intel that a Jedi was about to get ambushed. It's most likely not me. And they're also about to be shipping some Padawans around to little Palpatine youth camps to turn them to the dark side and hunt down more Jedi. Come on, let's go. We need your help. We gotta stick together.
You can see, like, she has conflict written all over her face right now. And we're going to fade real quick to you. Tack and Jex in the ship, what are you guys doing? You're hearing the different comm links and information coming from Seraph and Quinn.
Jex is just like, I knew this wasn't going to go right.
How could it go right? I mean,
And that's why Seraph insisted on not planning, because it's just gonna fail.
I really suggest we talk about communication discipline and security procedures.
I was under
after
the
this
impression
mission.
that our lines were secured. I apologize.
well, no,
Yeah,
that's perfectly fine for Seraph to be under that impression because Tack does do a good job of it. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's 100%.
Jex shakes his head. He says, we need a keyword for Jedi. Perhaps the package?
And then Tech's going to go back over to the comm terminal and try and look for any information on what the Imperials, what may be going across Imperial comms and what they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, you are hacked into their comms still. Like, we've been monitoring them this entire time, so we would know.
Basically, across the emergency services portion of their comm system, you're reading what is being reported as a terrorist attack that involved a rogue speeder flying into a building. So its early indication seems to be that they think it's a terrorist attack of some kind or another. Either that or maybe some of the gang activity is flared up, that sort of stuff. But that's what the emergency services comm units is indicating. As you monitor the communiques of some of the more secure lines, you pick up on that there are some of the officers are discussing the possibility of, is this related to the sting that we had planned for this evening regarding the potential Jedi. They don't seem to be convinced, but they're also not dissuaded of the possibility that those two events are somehow linked. So we'll come back to you two again. Quinn, you're up again.
Okay.
You're able to catch up to this girl right as you guys are making it into the spaceport compound, basically. Like, she's not like on a particular pad, but y'all are on spaceport property, basically, by the time you catch up with her. So you're just a couple of steps behind her at this point. The crowd is thinned out enough that now you're having to be a little more careful about how you're moving to not give it away completely. But what do you want to do? Man, what do you want to do?
All right. Well, I said I wanted to catch her by the time we got here, so I'd imagine that Quinn has caught up to her, and he'd sort of come up alongside of her, and he'd just come right out and ask you, "Hey, wait, you were watching that back there. You look like you know what was going on. What's going on back here? What the hell's going on?"
She looks at Quinn for a moment, kind of gives you the up and down, trying to evaluate what she thinks of based on your attire. She says, well, whatever it was, the Imperials aren't going to be happy about it. I mean, they don't like things flying into the buildings around here.
Well, I can't imagine anybody likes things flying into buildings that aren't supposed to, but I mean, you don't just tap away on a data pad and all that for that. I mean, come on, you've got to know something.
I was going to be meeting someone in the area, and I was told that it could get chaotic, and it did. So I don't know if the meeting's going to still happen or not. I'm trying to communicate with my contact to find out. That's all there is to it.
Who are you supposed to be meeting with? I was in the area to meet someone as well.
She looks at you and she says, "You don't fit his description. Sorry."
He'd kind of look at her.
Give the compliment.
He'd sort of look her over and well, you're not carrying one, but you know that night scope was pretty expensive. DC 155 must serve pretty well.
She looks at you a moment. Right. That was weird. All right, follow me.
Yeah, he'd start following her again.
She leads you to a freighter that's on one of the space pads. It is not a pretty looking ship by any means, and it looks like a kind of almost like a junker. I mean, it looks like a Galafi freighter that its better days was a century ago type look. And she says, "Here's our ride. I guess the rest of your crew will be meeting us."
Well, yeah, I would guess so.
All right. She leads you up the boarding ramp, and when you get on board the ship, assuming you're following her,
Following
figure
her,
that
taking it in view.
Make sure you check for those ion cannons. Make sure it's the right ship.
there are no obvious weapons on this Galafi freighter, because those are not legal.
I don't think I'd know what to look for to begin with for that sort of thing.
Well, I mean, if there's a big protruding cannon, that would be a good start, but there is not. So, as you get on board, once you make your way up the ramp, she reaches over and slaps a comm panel or a pair of buttons next to it. One of them opens up an intercom communication on the ship, and the other one starts closing the ramp. She says, "He's here, but he's not the guy that you told me to be looking for." To which you hear muttering over the comm unit, and you hear roar. A few moments later, the red clad figure that Jex had communication with earlier, and a Wookiee start coming down from. It's like got the whole ladder thing coming from the flight deck, an actual ladder coming down. It's that kind of freighter type thing. And you see, like, the Wookiee comes to the top of the ramp and is just kind of sitting there looking pissed, because what other look does a Wookiee have? And the guy in red makes his way down. He says, "Who are you?"
Says, you can call me Quinn.
All right, call you Quinn. Where's Jex?
Well, he wasn't sure whether or not this was going to be a setup, so he sent me.
He always was too smart for his own damn good. Where are we going? Let's get this boat on the road.
Sounds good. And he'd relay the coordinates and all that we're supposed to meet up at.
Okay. You said you're whenever you start rattling off the coordinates, the girl punches them in her pad, and then she starts climbing the ladder up there next to the Wookiee, and basically she reaches up and pats him on the shoulder, and he goes from looking mad to just looking pissed. I mean, not like he's ready to rip someone's arms out. He's just got the whole brooding, arms crossed, watching you as you're interacting with the captain, basically, as she goes up to the flight deck.
Quinn would look over at him and just without a care to it, he'd just, what?
To the Wookiee?
Yeah.
He goes.
Whatever that
All right,
means.
and I'm gonna say I understand Shriwook.
Okay. Basically, he just called you your mother a toad or something like that. I mean, like, really not nice, but not quite vulgar, if that makes sense. I mean, like, just insulting type thing.
Do I have to get
Your
out the
mom
clippers?
gives.
What'd you say?
Do I have to get out the clippers?
He does the whole. Like, that's not what he expects. How he expects someone to.
I'm sure you'd look funny bald.
And then he and continues, and he says, "And I think you'd look funny skinned."
Probably we'd make a pretty handsome couple.
To which one, the Wookiee laughs. Just gives the big belly laugh type thing. Alright. Alright, so we will fade here, going back to Seraph.
I believe I was in the middle of saying. I don't remember what I was in the middle of saying. But anyways, like, come on, who throws speeders at people in the first place?
She kind of glances around. There's not very many people in the street at this point, but whenever you say that, she says, "Clearly someone who wants me to get caught." She says, "If that's what you're after." And she reaches one hand towards the small of her back.
I didn't throw the speeder. You did. Come on, let's go.
I think what she's trying to say is that every time you mention that, it's likely to get her caught.
Oh. Well, let's
Or both
go.
of you.
Let's go.
I mean, I'm not going anywhere with you. For all I know, you're here to get me killed. And so far, you're doing a good job of it.
Again, I'm not the one throwing stuff at people.
So I'm guessing that it's been a while since we got that message. So Jex comes on the comms and he's like, "Is the package secure?"
The package is being a pain in my ass.
And
Come
at this
on,
point,
let's
she pulls the lights, like she pulls the lightsaber out from the hiding spot at her back. She's got it in her hand to where only someone who was specifically looking for it right now would notice it, but she has it in hand.
And I go, "Look, I don't want to fight you. Just come with me. I'm
Then
trying to
leave.
save your life here."
I don't want your help.
What do I have to do to convince you that I'm not here to hurt you, and I'm only here to help you?
When you kind of give that statement, she rears back and attacks, igniting her orange-bladed lightsaber.
This bitch picked the wrong Jedi.
I say just run and let the Imperials handle it, man.
Well, I mean, I've got to wait until she does her thing.
Go ahead and roll.
Oh, well, I can quick draw an incidental.
Roll vigilance.
I'm gonna quick
roll
draw
vigilance.
mine.
Roll vigilance first.
Okay.
Initiative.
Okay. Let me make sure what my vigilance is. 2. Is there a difficulty or anything like that?
No. All right, so she won initiative.
How'd she win? Oh, no. Yeah,
She has a success.
Oh.
You don't. So she is
Yeah.
going to strike you, or at least attempt to. You have what, melee defense?
Dose.
Dose. Okay. Let's see here. Now, is one of your melee defense from your lightsaber?
Negatory Ghost Rider.
All right. So she lashes out. She got 3 successes to hit.
She's gonna fucking hit.
So 8 wounds. So does not apply because of breach.
Can I dodge? Is that something that's possible?
No, she won initiative. If you have the parry talent, you could use that.
I have parry.
Okay.
That does mean you'll be parrying with your lightsaber, though.
But I also have
Yes, quick draw for Cinemax. I'm fine with that, where it like comes up just in time. Do you just have one rank of parry or two?
I have 2 ranks of parry, and I have improved parry.
Improved parry doesn't matter here.
It doesn't matter in this situation.
So basically, you'll take 4 wounds and 3 strain instead of 8 wounds.
Okay. Fuck. I'm also gonna click my lightsaber off as soon as I'm done parrying. It's going right back off, and I'm gonna turn around and run. And be like, I don't have time for you. I even say that.
Let's see here.
Unfortunately, now if she gets caught, she can expose the fact that you're still alive.
I'm not gonna kill a Jedi for being misinformed.
And I'm not
here.
You're trying to run away.
Even though I could probably kill her real quick.
She will try. Let's see. Are you double moving away then?
I'll quadruple move away if that's a thing.
I mean, you only have 2 maneuvers, so that means you would be at medium range now. And spend a destiny point. And this time she grabs something and it hits you. So the speeder bike that she had thrown before, as you turn to run away, she picks it up and slams it into the side of you. It has Silhouette 1, which by the move rules means it does 10 base damage. So that becomes...
Can I reflect?
There's 14 damage coming your way. Your soak applies, and if you have reflect, you can use that to lower the damage as well.
Okay. My soak is 5. How much did you say was coming my
14,
way?
so that makes it 9.
Do
you have reflect or no?
Yeah, I'll reflect. It's just I only have one rank in it.
So that becomes 6 wounds and 3 strain you take. So that's a total of 10 wounds and 6 strain on you.
No, sorry. I have reflect 3 because of my lightsabers. So it would be.
Your lightsaber has to be out for you to get the bonus.
It's in my hand.
Okay, so you're reigniting it to cut the speeder bike in half, basically.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna leave him. Man, I really want to fight her now. Oh. Throwing shit at me.
And with the 2 threats, do you want to give her a setback die? Do you want to make her suffer strain?
Can I make her lightsaber energy self-foul?
No, not with 2. You could also give yourself a free maneuver, so like you could like spring off of the barreling speeder bike and keep running and wind up at long range if you wanted.
You know what? No, I'm gonna do the opposite. When this is what I'm gonna use my reflect for. When she throws it at me, I'm gonna like use the lightsabers to kind of like cut what was gonna really hurt me, and I'm gonna jump over it and kick off of it and go after her.
Okay, so you're back at short range to her then, using the free maneuver.
Yeah.
All right. Over the comm units attack that you're monitoring, you are getting reports, like the Imperials are getting reports of possible Jedi sightings between the area of the terrorist attack and the spaceport. And Seraph, it's your turn. You are at short range to her right now, so.
I'm going to use my movement to get within combat.
Okay.
Both lightsabers are ignited at this point.
Okay.
And I'm going to attack her.
Alrighty. Melee, see, are you doing a double attack since you have the dual weapons?
Yeah, because that means the difficulty is up 1 more, right?
Yeah, it'd be 3 purple base. She has adversary 1, so it'd become 1 red, 2 purple. I'm going to spend a destiny point to make it 2 red, 1 purple, and she has melee defense 1.
Can I use a destiny point to give myself another yellow dice?
No, you'd have to. Actually, you're the active player, so you have the choice first. So if you want to spend a destiny point to upgrade, you can do that. But otherwise,
That's what I'm gonna do. I'll spend a destiny point to upgrade.
Stop moving them up. I got it right now. Then you're using
Okay.
light to turn it to dark. So it's 2 purple, 1 red, 1 black.
And guys, remember the dice only matter if you're in combat with the ship. So you can fly it, you just couldn't
Right.
fly it in combat.
Or other stressful situations like
Or
throwing out
another.
shield.
Okay, so because I used the destiny point before she did,
Yep. You
it's
have
still
upgraded
1
attack.
red, 2.
1 red, 2 purple, 1 black is what you're rolling against.
Okay. And she's already made an action, so I don't get my quick draw benefit. Alright, so I'm gonna roll to hit.
2 successes to hit, so you do hit her with one of your blades, not both of them in the flurry. So what's the base damage of your lightsaber?
My base damage is gonna be 10 for each one, vicious 2, sunder.
Breach 10.
I'm actually aiming at her lightsaber. I'm not
you
gonna.
didn't get a sunderer, so so breach 10. So you slice into her pretty deeply. She tried to deflect it some, but did not successfully do so. Actually, because the adversary made it where you didn't get the auto or the second attack, she basically blocked one of your blows and the other one slipped past and cut into her leg. So she takes a lot of wounds.
And I say, like, I don't want to hurt you. You know, like, and I say, like, you know, we can separate right now if you want. I'll go my way, you go your way, or you're welcome to come with me. But I don't want to kill you.
And she's going to aim this time. As she says, there is no death, there is the Force. But she says it in a very bitter and angry tone.
It's too bad we didn't have a consular. Talk her down.
Yeah, well, you know, when the hunter goes off by himself, and he's the one trying to talk someone else who's not trustful into something, it's not the best.
I never actually rolled any charm. Not that I have a lot of it. I could have at least rolled it.
Let's see, she hit, and it would be 9 wounds coming your way.
I'll blow 3 more strain to parry 4.
Okay, so it becomes 5 wounds and 3 strain.
Okay, so I'm at 8 strain, and...
It'd be 9 strain you're at, because you've done 3 different parries.
Yeah, you're right, 9 strain.
But how many wounds was that now?
And she just did 5 wounds to me?
Yeah, 5 after parry.
So I'm at 9 wounds and 9 strain.
Is that right?
I think so.
It's 4.
I could be
from
wrong.
The first attack did 4. This one did 5, so that's 9. And then the speeder running into you was 9. That became 6, so it should be 15 wounds total.
Okay, 15 wounds.
From 2 lightsaber attacks and a speeder bike.
Yeah, I have 1 wound left.
Huh. Okay. Your
Can
turn.
I'm just gonna be like, you know what, you're not fucking worth it, and I turn around and run.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna turn off my lightsabers and just run full blast again. I don't have time for this.
Alrighty. So you double move away. This time
she deignites her lightsaber and turns and runs in a different direction. So you guys separate. Quinn, you're on
Can
the
I
other
actually only
freighter.
single move?
What?
I'm sorry. Instead of double moving, can I single move and use a med pack?
Yeah, you
Attack?
can do that. That's fine.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. And that heals 5 wounds.
5, yeah, unless you've got stem pack specialization, which I don't think your career has.
I don't.
Alright, so attack and Jex.
Oh, actually, you know what? I misread. I'm dead.
Mike. What? How many
I'm
wounds
dead.
do you have?
I have 14 wounds. Or 13 wounds. I'm dead. I
Oh,
couldn't
so
know.
you're
I
actually
couldn't
at
have
her
survived.
feet then. Well then, that changes things. Okay, so we're now going to attack and Jex.
Okay.
Does Jex feel the disturbance in the force? Because does he actually die?
Wound threshold doesn't work that way. He's gone unconscious though.
So does Jex? Do we feel that disturbance in the force?
I would say you would feel the disturbance of the conflict that broke out, and then the sudden quiet. But you don't feel his life force actually severed from the force.
Okay. So Jex will turn to Taxi. How long do we wait?
Well, upon hearing the comm earlier, Tech ran to the cockpit and fired up the engines
Okay.
And Jex is on the guns right now.
and let Jex know what was going on and that he wouldn't be happy about what was probably going on.
Yeah, Jex is very displeased. Like, in all honesty, this is the second time that we've just jumped into something with Sarah.
And then
Actually, this is the first time we've just jumped into something with Sarah.
No,
because
before
with
he just
Shaq-T.
tried to. He just tried to. Y'all managed to stop him before.
Yeah.
And then Tack was intending, so prior to while they were fighting, his intent was to fly towards the location that he heard, the area, to try and pick Seraph up and get out of there before Imperial presence was had arrived on scene.
Okay. Let's see here. So, because I mean there is a spaceport and all that kind of thing. So if you're just taking off, that could be red flags. Like if you're just launching and whatnot. Do you want to try to go through the flight control stuff, or are you just going to do it and cross your fingers?
At this point, we're already red flagged.
Well,
So
we're not.
it's-
We're
it's- well, not well. I mean, one of
I have
our
a question.
Not
members.
yet, but
How did
potentially.
she go from rolling 3 yellow to 3 yellow and a green
Because I
to
spent a
hit to
destiny point.
attack you with her lightsaber?
Because I spent a destiny point. See,
The way Tack is looking at it is, even though Jex and I, and as far as we know, Quinn hasn't been identified, Seraph has, therefore we have. This is
Right.
no clearance. This is an
We're working
extraction.
on the best case scenario, basically.
Right. This is he's trying to make an extraction and
Okay.
hopefully
Yeah.
pick Seraph up before she fell.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to make you
Leave.
roll for the piloting because that's pretty straightforward, flying over the area of the report. As you're flying over it, you can either give me a computers check, which would be difficulty of 2 purple, or a perception check, difficulty of 3 purple. Whether or not you're using the computer scanners or looking out visually, up to you. Over the scene, trying to get an appraisal of one, where Seraph is, and what else is going on down there, basically.
As much as I would like to use the computers, at this point he's focusing on trying to fly this small freighter
Right.
through a city. I'm going to go with perception.
Okay.
Jex will, I guess, radio Quinn and ask where Quinn is because we're evacing.
I'm with your friends.
Good. We're getting the hell out of here. We're gonna grab Seraph and we're gonna head to the rendezvous point.
Sounds good.
So, Tech, or Tack, you got a success. So not only do you spot where Seraph currently is, but you got a triumph, so you can get something more out of this. With just one success and a threat, though, you can see that there's a lot of activity in the neighborhood down below. You see a lot of movement going on of people getting out of the way and that kind of thing. But you do spot Seraph. He is, or she is currently over the shoulder of the woman that I showed the image of previously that he was dealing with. And she is making a run for it down the street. Like, she's turned down an alleyway trying to get away, and she's struggling with Seraph over the shoulder.
Alright, I'm going to try and do something fucking awesome. So, Tack's going to go on the comms and tell Jex to get to the cockpit and take control now.
Okay.
So Jex heads to the cockpit and he takes the control and he says,
making a run for it.
Yeah. He says, I hope you know what you're doing.
Can I play Wraith for the time being?
Hang on a second. What are you doing, Tack?
I tell Jex, get us ahead of her, and I run to the cargo bay and open the door.
Okay. As you open the door and you're looking down, Jex, you're not having too much of a difficulty, like, staying at least close to where she is. The difficulty really comes from if you get, like, directly over her, you can't see her anymore, so you're kind of guessing where she's going, and every once in a while you kind of have to do a bank one way or the other in order to get visual sight again.
Okay.
But it's not complicated flying, it's just not... It's one of those things, like, if you maintained this for several hours, you would all be seasick.
Yeah.
But
how close is Jex able to get us?
Jex, what's your piloting like?
I have 2 green.
Okay, so you're basically most of these buildings that he's flying over are 1 or 2 stories, so he's at about 2.5, 3 stories flying over them. Probably just barely hovering almost, because I mean she's moving at what is equivalently of basically jogging speed with someone over her shoulder, so she's not moving terribly fast. Tack, you have no problem spotting her once you open the ramp, but as you open the ramp, you also see a couple of blaster shots from one street, like as she turns off this alley heading down another street or whatever, a couple of blaster shots hit near her, and then a couple of wild blaster bolts are aimed towards your guys' ship. Like, just wildly shooting at the thing in the air, basically.
Alright, I yell back, keep it steady, and then I want to, would you say about medium, or are we further than medium range?
I'll say, like, with his piloting and whatnot, you'll be able to get as close as medium, like, to time whatever you're about to try, basically.
Alright, I'm going to grab Sarah.
He's kind of going back and forth between medium and extreme in the ship, basically, as he maneuvers.
Alright, I want to try and grab Seraph with move and pull her onto the ship.
Okay. So that would be, I think that's just a force rating check.
Don't you have to make a ranged light attack too, or is that?
That's when you're throwing something at someone.
It's
okay.
It's at range. It's still a range. It's still like range, but it's a discipline.
Basically, like, the control thing is if you're going to throw it at someone, or I would also say that if you're doing, like, precision movement, then I would use a range light to see how accurate you're being with something, even if you're not, like, hurling it at someone. But in this case, where you're just grabbing someone and pulling them to you, you just need to roll your force rating. And you have 2 range upgrades, right? Or actually, 1 range upgrade?
1 range upgrade, yeah.
Okay, so you need a total of 3 pips to use, because you need 1 to activate the basic power, 1 to extend the range to medium, and 1 to extend the magnitude to a silhouette 1 creature. So.
All right. And there's no way to upgrade that, huh?
No, that's the one thing about the Destiny pool, is it does not help force users as much.
All right, come on. Nope. Damn.
Okay, so, yeah, 2. Even if you flip the Destiny and take the 2 strain, isn't going to be that useful because you don't have the range and the size to pick her up from here. So.
Damn.
I am pretty tiny.
You're still silhouette 1.
Yoda's race is still Silhouette 1.
Really?
Yeah,
He's not
Lannister's.
Atlantic.
Yeah, he is.
'Cause I think my
No, he's
my
not.
Shadow
They
fan is Silhouette
they
0.
actually made a joke about it. That
Anyway.
one of the other Jedi's like, you know how bad the records are? They think Master Yoda's Atlantic.
All right, what Tack?
Well, that had potential to be really awesome.
Yeah. You reach out and you feel. No, people are Silhouette 1. Jawas, Tadarians, and a couple other races are Silhouette 0. Okay, so you reach out, and I'm gonna say, like, for cinematic purposes, you do the whole like Luke shuddering the X-wing, but not moving it. So like she. All right. She feels the movement and turns and looks up at you, and when she does, blaster bolt comes flying really close by her from a stormtrooper who got a pot shot, or a pair of stormtroopers that came around the corner. And she's seen, like, she dodges out of the way of that, looks back over her shoulder at the stormtroopers, looks back up at you on the ramp, and then she comes running in the general direction of your ship, and she reaches out, but she doesn't reach out like she's expecting you to grab her hand or anything. She reaches out in like a motion similar to how you reach out when you try to force move type thing. And then she, with one hand, she reaches up towards you like that, and the other she pats Seraph's back.
Oh, she wants to throw Seraph and for you to catch her.
And if y'all mess this up, then Seraph's landing, and it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
I'll just be dead at that point.
No, not necessarily. Because when you're over your wound threshold, just any kind of hit is a crit. So I mean, you could take a couple of more bumps and bruises before dying. You're gonna wish you were dead. But
Not with my luck.
All right, so she's going to try to force throw Seraph part of the way. She throws Seraph up into the air. But Tact, and now you need to roll, and you need to get at least 2 pips because she's thrown Seraph halfway, basically. Oh, and you reach out and grab it the rest of the way. So, like, she throws Seraph, and Seraph comes hovering towards you, and eventually she gets close enough that you're able to grab a hold of Seraph and pull her on in. And at this point, the woman jumps on the side of the building and starts climbing, because now she's not weighed down by Seraph, to get closer to the ramp herself. Do you wait for her, or do you tell Jex to punch it?
I mean, you wouldn't
Well,
know
first
that
of all-
someone would hurt me.
Well, first of all, do we see lightsaber marks on Seraph? Because we're up close now, and if we see lightsaber marks, we know the
You
normal
don't.
lightsaber user did it.
Tack would. See, yeah, there'd be 2 lightsaber wounds on Seraph, Tack. And what looks to be shrapnel wounds.
I'm gonna try to help her.
More like concussive wounds from like bashing her and bludgeoning.
Well, no, you cut a flying speeder in fourths and took 6 wounds and 3 strain from it. It's going to look like shrapnel in a few spots. So she climbs the building to where she's now at short range. Are you going to tell Jex to punch it, or are you helping her up?
I'm gonna tell him to keep it steady. I'm gonna try and help her.
Okay. You want to reach out with the force again, or she's going to get to short range basically by climbing up on top of this building. So you just
I'll
need
try
2
to
pips.
help her get up here with force move.
Okay. And you do so. You pull her up onto the thing, grab a hold of her wrist as she lands on the ramp, and you now have.
Nice Good story.
Man, that dice roller really likes you right now. All right, so as soon as she gets up there, what are you gonna do?
Hail me!
Jax, as soon as he's sure that everyone's on board, he's just gonna punch it. You just bam, plop the hyperspace jump and just go.
Well,
He's gonna probably
hyperspace jump out of the atmosphere. You got to get out of the atmosphere first.
Don't never tell me the odds.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was actually my least favorite part of the entire movie.
So I guess he'll get out of atmosphere and then he'll make one jump to a different location and then probably jump to another location so they can't follow him.
Okay, just get out of here as fast as possible and meet up at the rendezvous location as quickly as you can. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break. I need to use the bathroom because I feel like my bladder's about to explode. I'll be right back in just a couple minutes if anyone else needs to get a drink or use the bathroom.
Okay.
All right, I'm back. Whenever you guys are. So 1, 2, 3.
You hear a female voice yell, "Hold the door! Hold the door!"
Oh my goodness, really? Really?
And then Quinn drops to the ground, having a seizure, yelling, "Hold the door! Hold the door!"
Why Quinn? What do you got against Quinn?
I don't know, he was just there. He was the first name I read when I looked down.
Alright. Waiting on Jax to get back.
We could resolve what's going on in the cargo bay.
Yeah, so prior to jumping, obviously I need to close the cargo bay doors.
I'd hope so. If we leave atmosphere with them open, it's going to be a bad day.
Yeah. And then I'm going to tend to both of their wounds. I'm going to grab two stim packs, one for each.
Alright, as Jax is getting you guys into hyperspace and TAC, you start dealing with the injuries. You realize you recognize this woman. She's someone that when you were younger, like when you were a youngling, when you were first studying at the temple and whatnot, you studied with her in various topics in the lab, the Jedi Temple and whatnot. She's dyed her hair and had some cosmetic work done to where she doesn't look like she used to in a huge amount of detail, but you realize you recognize her.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't recognize when she first got on to the ship. But
then as you start,
to her, I kind of noticed.
Yep.
And recognized features.
Yeah. Yep. You realize who it is you're dealing with. She studied quite a bit, but she was by no means a sage. She took more of the, actually like you, took more of the Sentinel outlook in life. She saw knowledge and such as tools, as opposed to like the sage just want to get knowledge for the sake of having the knowledge. She was a shadow, not artisan, though.
Okay.
So now that have we reached the meetup place, or are we?
You're en route.
Okay.
He's applying medical care to the two injured Jedi that are with you. Quinn and the crew that he met up with are en route to the rendezvous location. They'll get there first because they weren't making a run for it, and making multiple jumps along the way.
Yeah.
And what was her name? That I knew her by anyway.
That one girl.
Lena. Lena.
Right. So yeah, as so I was tending to Seraph and trying to stabilize her, and then I go to see who her quarry was, and try to figure out what's going on. And I'm tending to her wounds, and then I recognize her, and I'm just like, Lena?
Wraith is very defensive over Seraph, looking at Lena.
Lena, she's just kind of like found somewhere to sit against a wall, basically. And when you come up, she actually cringes when you first approach her. And then whenever you say her name, she looks at you, at first kind of confused because it's been years since you guys have seen each other type thing. And then suddenly there's that moment of realization, and she says, Tack, what are you doing here?
You survived. You made it. Oh my God. That's great. I'm so glad we got you. Well,
she looks like past you towards Seraph, where Wraith is pulling the guard dog growl type thing. That one can't be trusted.
she's a little
Impulsive.
impulsive.
Jex overhears that and at the same time as you says impulsive.
Yeah, she's definitely a little impulsive. But the rest of us, we do a pretty good job of keeping her under control when she's with us. But she tends to like to wander off on her own. Looks like you had no problem. Looks like you didn't have much problem with her, though.
That's only because I didn't fight her the first 2 rounds.
Oh, well, that's a big difference in a system where you only have a dozen hit points or so.
That is a pretty big difference.
I took down a freaking Marine Corps basically by myself.
She's watching Seraph and Wraith at this point as she listens to you, and she says, yeah, she was trained by one of the masters.
So were we.
Well, we all were trained by masters.
No, I mean the council.
Plo Koon was on the council.
And she looks over at you at that moment, and like a slightly panicked look on her features as she says, and Plo Koon trained you?
Yeah, I mean, like, we were all trained. Why are you buying into this propaganda? The Empire was trying to ambush and capture you. Luckily, we happened to be here at the same time.
The Empire has good reason for wanting to capture us.
Why do you want to get captured?
Please tell me Seraph woke up. Please tell me Seraph woke up.
You can start waking up now as the stim packs and medical stuff starts to wake you up.
Jex
Can I hear
says,
that part? You have good
hang on,
reason to
Seraph.
do that?
Mike, please stop cutting other people off. Jex, what was you saying?
Jex says, the good reason, they have good reason to be hunting you down? They didn't just hunt the council, they hunted everyone.
I'm not saying that their evidence is not without fault, but they have good reason to be suspicious of Jedi in general. There was an assassination attempt against the Chancellor. There's been assassination attempts against multiple senators. And some of them have even been successful.
Well, I know that I have seen a master ambushed and killed, not taken prisoner, but killed by some kind of inquisitor. this was one of them that they sought to make answer for their crimes. How is that fair trial? How is that fair judgment? That is the actions of someone who has no evidence and simply wants their false accusation to be taken as fact.
She just gets that slightly defeated, just kind of sinks in to her seat a little bit more, just like not sure what to say or do, because there's no good answer, basically, in her mind.
We are all that's left of the Order. We have to stick together.
Can I punch her in the face?
Are you really going to get up with the IV in and walk over there to try to punch her?
I'm strongly contemplating it.
Okay, let me know if you stop contemplating and actually do it. She just kind of looks at Jex and Tack. I'm not sure I agree, but I know I had no part of the conspiracy.
There was no conspiracy. None of us had anything to do with it. But they still want us all dead.
Should have just left her on the planet.
It is not a crime to be misinformed. However, one should strive for better judgment. And he takes on like this scolding, like Obi-Wan Master Yoda kind of vibe to him as he says that.
And she gives like a cutting, bitter tone retort and says, "And how do you know you're not the one misinformed?"
Look.
Because I knew Master Plo. He was my friend. If there was an assassination attempt on the Chancellor, as his Padawan, he would have brought me in to this. Do you not think? And I was witness to no such thing.
I do have to admit that the story that the Empire is telling is the perfect story, whether it's true or false. Because the Jedi Masters, by the nature of their power, would be the ones who could do this.
And how often have you known something that is perfect to be true? And he just leaves it at that.
Search
For the
your
first time, she doesn't have like a terrified look on her face. She's got that more thoughtful, like, that might actually make sense. Might be the operative part of the look.
Look, Lena, I understand you may not trust them, but we both follow the same path. We both sought knowledge. Search your feelings. You know it to be true. It's too perfect of a story.
Well, either way, I'm with you guys for now.
I don't think that's good enough.
She looks over at Seraph as Seraph's like muttering behind the pain pills, and I don't think that's good enough.
She doesn't mutter it. She says that quite out loud.
She says, you know, you really got to work on your way of approaching people. Whether you're a conspiracy or the remnants of the Jedi Order, grabbing someone in the street and expecting them to believe you is a bad idea.
Whatever, bitch. You're the one who drew your fucking lightsaber on me. I only defended myself. You're the one talking about how people are trying to get you killed. You actually tried to kill me. So I don't want to hear it.
No, I actually, if I wanted you dead, I would have left you to the stormtroopers.
I appreciate you getting me to the ship, but that's where this ends.
Well, since she's on board now and we're going to do the mission, I suppose we should inform her that the fact that the Empire is transporting younglings to a prison facility. Younglings who are no more than 2 years old. Go ahead.
They're conspirators, don't you know? Just like us. They probably tried to assassinate Palpatine themselves. That's why they're getting transported.
At this point,
She says this while
like-
staring at her dead eye to eye.
yeah, Lena's like giving the whole like, you think Force Lightning might break from her eyes at any moment at Seraph. You're not sure. That kind of stare going on as Seraph's making the snide remarks.
Regardless of our differences, we should work together. Sorry there, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Mikey. Go ahead.
You're fine. You're fine. I interrupted.
All right, real quick, we're going to pan over to Sean with Quinn on the other ship. Anything in particular you're wanting to do there? I mean, or are you just kind of hanging out, waiting?
Just hanging out, waiting. I'd imagine that they've probably already arrived at the rendezvous point by now. He's just chilling, making new friends.
Okay. Pretty straightforward then. All right, so they are. I mean, they seem to be business as usual. You quickly find out that all three of them are registered bounty hunters, and that the guy in red apparently owes Jex, and doesn't like having the debt being dangled, so he's on board with the idea of them using this ship to just incapacitate another ship and letting you guys deal with the boarding actions. So.
Yeah, he'd be completely understanding of not wanting a debt hold over his head, and that if that they're supposed to be a part of the boarding, that at some point he's going to need to meet up with the other ship so that he can get back on it. And at the same time of spending time talking with him, he was never much one for the no affections bit, so he's kind of cozy or attempting to cozy up with the woman that he met.
Okay. All right. If you want to actually use mechanics, then it would be a charm check, most likely, to try to make friends or more, whatever the case may be.
Okay, yeah, I'll go for it.
And it'd be difficulty of, let's see here, it'd be charm. Might be opposed by discipline, I would think. So it'd be one red, one purple. Okay. I mean, she is
Friendly but not perceptive.
right. I mean, she's. You don't make her drop her underwear and get in bed with you that night by any means. But
not quite.
Friendship.
Wasn't quite going that far, but
Well, I mean, if you had like rolled triumph and 5 successes or something, then okay, well, you just knocked her socks off. But no, friendly. But the threat will be that as y'all are having conversation and whatnot, some of the conversation raises like she warms to you, but she has suspicions about that you not being completely honest in the situation, which you're not. So. But not so much so that it doesn't make it where she's friendly or anything like that. You find out that she is the trio's gunner when it comes to the ship duties.
okay.
But you find out she is from Corellia, and that she's lived here and there throughout the galaxy, mostly on a ship, ever since leaving home when she was in her teens.
Yeah, so he's cozying up, making conversation about this and that, and trying to leave out the factor of him actually being a Jedi Knight.
It's probably a good idea.
We'll leave that all on Jex.
Right.
Yeah, so far as anyone knows, Jex is the only Jedi on this mission.
Well, and as far as you guys know, the guy in red may be the only member of this crew that knows that. You don't know. So, even mentioning that Jax is a Jedi to the other two might be a bad idea, at least until you know their relationship between each other. But yeah, okay, so... And, man, this is running... I'm trying to look at the time and what I have planned and figure out what I'm going to cut some or speed up along the way.
It's almost 2 a.m.
Yeah,
here.
we don't have a whole lot of time left. I could do that if you guys are interested. I could make this rather than a trilogy, a 4-part game.
That might be the way to go. I mean,
I'd
for
be
me, it's
good
only
with
11 o'clock, so I'm not too bad, but I know it's like 2 a.m. is pretty late.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
almost
Let's
1
do that.
here,
Let's
so
Playing.
I'd be good with it.
Let's end here, and so the tides of change. We'll pick up next session. We'll pick up basically right where we're leaving off at the rendezvous point. So the tides of change here is going to be what complication arises at the rendezvous, whether it's with the crew, the bounty hunting crew, whether it's with Lena, whether it's with the ship you guys are rendezvousing with, or to try to ambush. What complication suddenly arises at the somewhere right here? So.
Okay, I got one. Tide change for Quinn would be that while cozying up with this bounty hunter crew, making conversation in general with all of them, that he kind of slips and does actually mention that they're a group of Jedi. Not outright, but kind of
He implies it.
Implies and hints at the possibility of this being without intending to.
So while cozying up with the bounty hunters, he slips and reveals that he is and/or is working with Jedi. So it's not clear how exactly Jedi are involved, but that there is Jedi involvement of some kind, and he may or may not be one himself.
Yep.
All right.
For mine, I think it would be something to do with the computer systems on our old rust bucket of a freighter. I'm guessing go haywire, and we have to fix them before we can do anything to do with the ambush.
Let's see. For mine, I'll say that we didn't have as much intel as we would have liked on the ship, and it's actually under escort by a squadron of TIEs. Or no, not TIEs, because they wouldn't be able to do hyperspace. But it is under escort. Under whatever would fit.
I'll have to do some research. Maybe like a gunboat or something like that.
Yeah, a single gunboat would make sense.
I guess depending on what I don't know how your alternate universe works, as timeline wise, what ships are available. I mean, it could have like a Gazanti, like in Rebels, with like a squadron of TIEs.
And actually, since we're just a year after the Empire was formed, it could still be like ARC 170s.
Yeah.
But either way, the prison freighter is actually being escorted. Okay. Lucky.
I don't really have anything. I guess that Seraph and Lena are not going to be able to work together at all. Inconsolable differences or something to that effect, to where either Lena is going to leave or Seraph is. One of the two.
Okay. Let's see here. Alright, so I will word that as Lena and Seraph are destined to be at odds. Alrighty, I'll put the poll up. The next game is 2 weeks from tonight, I believe. Double checking the calendar here. So, yeah, episode 3 will be on June 8th, which it's kind of interesting because episode 3 was going to be titled Hate, and I think I'll stick with that title since it could lead into some things. And since we're going to have episode 4 going with my theme of fear, anger, hate, episode 4 will be titled Destruction. And with that, we'll sign off tonight, and I'll talk with you guys about experience and that sort of thing. So.
Thanks for watching.